Hello, welcome along to our look back of the 2025 World Matchplay Darts Tournament, which took place at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, where Luke Littler picked up the World Matchplay to join his Premier League World Championship victories, amongst many other PDC Premier event titles that he's won in the last 18 months. He got the better of James Wade, the machine, in the final by 18 legs to 13. It was a classic final in Blackpool as Littler completed the final leg of what some are calling a triple crown. Paul Nicholson was watching the tournament and he joins me here in the studio. We'll get on to that debate in a bit.
Yes, we will.
Because it's fair to say everybody's got an opinion on it. But what can't be disputed is Luke Littler at the minute is the king of darts, the World Championship, the World Matchplay winner. Joins a very select club of people that managed to win both titles in the same season.
Yeah, I think so far 2025 has been a great season for him. Obviously becoming world champion on January 3rd, getting the UK Open, which is a very different tournament. It's a lot more clustered over the course of 3 or 4 days. And now you've got the World Matchplay, so he's getting some of the best trophies in the sport, isn't he? He's not winning everything. He's not having as many titles come his way as 2024, but he's ticking things off his list and he's doing things in a very exciting manner.
Is it fair to say we saw a different side of Luke in that tournament, where we're so used to seeing him breeze away opposition in the past, where both the semi and the final found himself final down. He was 7-2 down against Jermaine Wattimino in the last 16 of the competition. We know how good he is and we know how good his streaks are, but did we learn a lot about his grit and actually when the chips are down, he's got this ability of turning things around?
I think that's the easy way to look at it. I was looking at Luke a lot during the tournament. It wasn't necessarily when he was throwing, it was when he wasn't throwing. Trying to figure out some of his reactions to these difficult situations he found himself in. So I think we can look at the session-by-session results and think, yes, he's shown grit and determination, and yes, he has. But I think what he's figured out really quickly is that having a bad start in best of 31 darts or greater is not the end of the world. And even when he was in a big spot of bother earlier in the tournament, he just said, you know what, I'll figure it out. And I think we can all be inspired by this, because you speak to most dart players who are very successful right now. If you say you're going to be 5-0 down at the first break, they would say, well, that's not easy. Littler looks at it differently. And this is why he's so different to everybody else, because he thinks about things differently. 5-0 down to him is not trouble. It's just a way of waking up.
Be honest, when Wade went 5-0 up in the final, did you still think Luke Littler goes on to win it?
Yeah. Yeah, because it happened before. Twice. And even though James was getting the better start, look at where things stood after 15 legs. It's a case of maybe playing the World Matchplay more like the World Championship, playing it in set format, break by break. And I think the way that Littler saw it, it wasn't 5-0 down, it was just one session down. I'll just win the next session, I'll just win the next session, and by the end of it, I'll be as clear as I want to be. That may seem like a bit of a somewhat cocky or confident attitude, but that's the way he approaches the game. He just doesn't panic, where other players would.
And in that final, you saw, look, James pushed him all the way, and then there was that leg, I think it was a 14-all, wasn't it? Wade missed those couple of darts, Littler wins that leg, he goes a couple clear, and then that was it, game over. He just bolted the door shut.
I've since wrote an article about the way that Littler has figured this out. You look at middle distance runners, they all have a comfortable position that they like to have in the first couple of laps. Say if it's 1,500 metres or 3,000 metres. Some people like to lead from the front. Some people like to be in the pack, in the middle. There are some people who like to stay right at the back. Some of the greatest 800-metre runners have started the final lap at the back because they'll be in people's slipstream and they can figure out what people are going to do. Littler's like that. He doesn't mind being behind. Give him a 2-set deficit at the Worlds. Give him a 5-0 down deficit at the first break. He can figure out how to get through the game. Is the balance of his darts right in that first session? How's he feeling? Give him 2 or 3 minutes in the back. He'll be able to figure it out. And that's why at 5-0 down, I don't think anybody was panicking, including Littler.
It was a tournament filled with special moments, and I suppose the most special of them was that semi-final between Luke and Josh. And look, we had the leg, didn't we? Michael and Michael at the World Championship in the final. That was just something off the chart, wasn't it? Josh Rock, 6 darts into a 9, doesn't even get a look at it because Luke hits one of his own.
Yeah, it's a genuine perfect leg. It's the second one we've had in PDC darts behind Nico Springer and Manfred Bildill. At the PDC Europe Super League, Nico takes out the 9, Manfred's on a shot after 6. It's a perfect leg. Is it the most dramatic leg? It is definitely in the top 3. Let's put it that way. I think Michael versus Michael at the Worlds, that was just extra special because it was Ali Pali, it was the final, and you did have the miss that created the ability to hit the next shot for Michael Smith, a great moment. So yes, it had one perfect leg, but the entire game, I applaud Josh Rock for him being able to push Littler to that degree, because only great players can do that. James Wade did that to Phil Taylor in the Premier League final in 2010. He pushed him into getting perfect legs. Rock did that to Littler.
Is Josh Rock now at the point where he is ready to go, not just challenge to win big things, but go on and win big things?
I don't think it's up for debate. Semi-final at the UK Open, semi-final at the Matchplay. He can win anything he wants. He just needs to get that little bit extra at the right time. But I think he's ready to take that step, and he's never been more confident.
Premier League question mark, or is it way too early in the season to have that discussion?
How are you asking me a Premier League question? It's July, but this has already started. This is the spectrum of world media.
Is that how darts has changed to the fact that we're having this conversation now?
Absolutely. We should be talking about this in December. But we're a sport and a culture that is obsessed with what's next. The World Grand Prix is next. The World Series in Australia and New Zealand is next. But we are so obsessed with Premier League darts that we want to know who's in it. Well, it's not even close to autumn yet. Let's get to winter first and let's see what happens. There's a lot can happen between now and January.
Yeah, but would you put him in, though?
If the Premier League was selected today, I think everybody would put Josh Rock in it. But the Premier League's in January and onwards, so let's figure it out in December.
So, from one thing to another, look, obviously Josh is on that incline. Then we've seen a couple of players decline because obviously the ranking for a couple of years ago. One of them, Nathan Aspinall, obviously got to the playoffs in the Premier League. He's had a very good season. Some would argue maybe his best season for quite a while. Yet that one defeat in the first round of the World Matchplay, suddenly he plummets back into the 20s in terms of the order of merit.
Let's face it, everybody who was part of the World Matchplay media, the YouTubers, the writers, the presenters, the pundits, everybody looked at the rankings the day after Nathan lost, and we were all doing this as if to say, Nathan's the 23rd best player in the world. Get away with it. Of course he's not, but that's how the rankings reflect his order of merit and his world ranking standings. So we have to accept that. But there are not 22 players in the world who are better than Nathan Aspinall. We know that because of his form this year. He's in the top 10 of money earned this year, and he's won 2 European Tour events. He's been sensational in the Premier League. I don't think the rankings reflect what Nathan is, but what we're seeing is that people are dropping at the same time that people are climbing.
I was going to say, are we looking at a shifting environment in terms of the rankings? Because you look at someone like James Wade, who last year struggled to qualify for the World Matchplay, got in the final position. Now back-to-back semi-finals in the competition, world number 5, also lost in the final of the UK Open this year. And all of a sudden, he looks like he could be a genuine contender to win anything again. Yeah,
absolutely. James played superb in this tournament. And if you were to grade James's numbers against anybody from the history of the World Matchplay, they stand up, especially his finishing. If you look at what he did tournament-wide, finishing-wise and average-wise, stick that against all of the previous 31 match players, he wins quite a few of them, even when Taylor's around. That was a sensational performance from the machine over the course of the full tournament that he played, because he played the first game and the last game. He went the whole hog, and he was only just a few short, but boy, did he play well.
Johnny Klein, is he brewing to something?
Of course he is. He's a great season. I think he thinks that the tour would be fairer to him if he played everything in Rosmalen, because he won a wonderful Players' Championship 14 there. He won the European Tour event, the Dutch Darts Championship in Rosmalen. But I think even when he came off the top a little bit in the semi-finals against Wade, you just got the feeling that that was James's night. But there's going to be plenty for Johnny to get his teeth into before the end of the year.
Time for our thumbs up segment, because we're going to talk about Andrew Gilding now, who made it through to the quarterfinals.
That's a very small thumb, Henry.
It is a very small thumb. It's a very small segment of the show, but it's a thumbs up segment of the show. We're going to talk about Andrew Gilding, who I tell you what, again, he's just beginning to move into form. And I'll tell you what, he had Luke in all sorts of knots, didn't he, in that quarterfinal?
Yeah, there are going to be certain moments that we remember from this match play. And a lot of them are going to include Andrew Gilding. Look back at how he looked at Littler when Littler hit the last double. It was as if to say, oh, I was close, wasn't I? This is how close I can get to one of the best players in the world. I think that has stoked the hunger of Gilding for the rest of the year. I think he's starting to believe how good he is. We all know it. He can hang with all of these incredible players. And now the world's his oyster. I think he understands that he's probably in the same sort of mould as Glenn Durrant. I think he's got a tight window. When Glenn moved to the PDC in 2019, I said he's got about 5 years to really kick in. It proved to be the case. I think Gilding's the same. I reckon he's got about 3 or 4 years to make the most of this while he can still do it.
Number 1 seed, world number 1, Luke Humphries went out on the opening night, but Jan van Veen, you just got to take your cap off to him, haven't you?
That was a great game. And I think what we saw from Humphries was that he was in good form in that game, maybe slightly off his best. But it also proves that if you don't average 100, you leave yourself very vulnerable against someone like Van Veen, who was one of the highest qualifiers. So Jan is someone who is really starting to build up this snowball of confidence. And he wasn't bothered about playing the number 1 seed in the first round. He played a great game, and Humphries got firsthand got the evidence of if you don't hit the ground running, you can lose first round. A bit like Michael van Gerwen did to Zwan back in 2018.
And one thing about Jan, and I remember when he was here, I spent a little bit of time with him, and when he was here, I don't think he was the best player that was here. He was never someone, you knew he had talent, but he was never somebody that you stood out for, right, he's going to be the next superstar. But one thing he had in terms of his mindset, the way he approached the game, you knew that upstairs he had it all right. And the way that he's worked on his game, he has been one of the, in terms of here, one of the big success stories in darts altogether. He's been one of those success stories. And he looks like a young man that's only going in one direction.
He most definitely is. I had the pleasure of talking to him a couple of times when he'd won games at the Matchplay. You have to remind yourself that he's Dutch. His English is so perfect.
Impeccable.
It's absolutely incredible. So I think from an image perspective, he's got it all. He's got the talent, he's got the work ethic, he can talk a fantastic game, pre-game and post-game. If he looks after himself mentally, physically, and moving forward, I think he can do anything he wants.
You also covered the women's competition on TalkSport. Lisa Ashton would go on to win that in the end. Her first PDC title, or major title anyway, and long overdue when you consider the career that she's had.
What a roller coaster of an afternoon that was. I mean, you've got the 8 ladies in it. Gemma's played so well, and you think Gemma Hayter's going to take Sherrick out. What a game that was. I don't want that to be forgotten quickly because it was a wonderful spectacle. And then you got Sherrick almost beating her chest as if to say, wow, I don't know how I came through that. And then Bo goes out in the semis and everybody smells opportunity, don't they? And then we get that real rivalry game in the final with Ashton versus Sherrick, which had everything. Great performances from both ladies. I know the averages came a little bit down towards the end, but that increased the drama. Then you got the missed starts for the championship from Sherrick, and you got Lisa winning in the end. It was by far the best of the 4 runnings of the Women's World Matchplay. And if that is what we're going to get in coming years, I think they might have to extend it to 16 ladies. Maybe give them the last 16 on the Saturday afternoon, and then give them the quarters, semi-final and final on the Sunday. Because if that tournament is anything to go by, then maybe just a little bit of progression over the next few seasons is the right thing to do. Right, classification time. The Triple Crown is made up. I'm trying to be nice here. You just got to get real. You don't know.
A lot.
You don't know, do you? Do we have a Triple Crown or not? If the PDC say we do, then we do. It's not up to the broadcasters to make this up. I don't really care who made it up, because everybody's got their opinion, but take those opinions and burn them.